co-sponsor of the Civics Club. I'm the sponsor of the Future Educators of America Club that I plan on implementing at the middle school level at our school. I was the first head football coach at Frost last year, and my first year of teaching, I was the Care for Kids leader for the school. So I've done quite a bit of leadership already in the school, but I still got room for improvement. Also, I'm a JCPS product, so I grew up in the system. So I know about the Carol, I know about the CATS, and I know about the K-Prep. And I am a graduate of Manual High School. I also did my undergrad at the University of Louisville, and right now I'm currently getting my Master of Teacher Leadership at Spalding. And I am a firm believer in building relationships with my students in order to educate them. I feel like you got to know the students in order for them to trust you, in order to get them to want to learn and be motivated.
I'm Barb Whitworth. I'm originally from Flint, Michigan. I've been in Louisville for 5 years. When I came down, I was hired at Zeke for an 8th grade middle language arts teacher. I was overstaffed that year, and I was placed at Farnsley, which was actually kind of a blessing in disguise. I like working at Farnsley. I'm a 7th grade language arts teacher. I am the team leader on our team. I've sat on the SBDM for 2 years. I'm also the representative for the PTSA. And usually, when you can find me there, I volunteer for a lot of our sports. And also, I do our administrative detention duty, because I'm tough like that.
And again, my name is David Boudet. I am in my 2nd year at Iroquois High School. Originally, I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan, where, again, last year, moved down here to teach at Iroquois. Last year, I was an Algebra 2 teacher, part of in charge of the end of course test taking for those juniors. And this year, I am in charge of solely the college algebra, the only college algebra teacher at Iroquois. And with that being said, we're going through audit right now, so I'm in charge of 40%. Or accounted for 40% of our audit score with college and career readiness and graduation rate. Also, as Pat mentioned, part of my individual project, I hosted or organized a Saturday session as well for the seniors for their Coyote testing to make them college and career ready. And I've already seen gains from that. Part of our project or presentation, what we're going to propose to you right now, kind of goes off that, but on a much larger scale. But with some experience, I can tell you that I'm a firm believer that this will work.
Okay, for the past couple of years, Kentucky and JCPS has moved to the mission of getting all students college and career ready. And so since that's our goal, we're going to focus our proposed plan on the ACT. So we're going to call our proposed plan ACT Academy. Right? And what we're going to show you is a video showing the perceptions and attitudes of students in general when it comes to high-stakes testing. So if you watch the video, be watching how the students behave, what's the attitudes, listen to the lyrics a little bit. You may find this a little bit humorous. It may exaggerate just a little bit, but besides that, I think that you're going to enjoy the video. You might agree, but most of y'all have been in the field, in the classroom, of how students react and what their perceptions are.
Excuse me, Professor Bradley. Can I see you for a moment? Carry on.
Tell me a little something I might like to hear. Let me get all the answers to numbers
based off of that video, I know it was a lot to take in. So, my question to you all is, what behaviors were the students in the video displaying while taking the test? I know you all, you gonna get to become the students, so today I'm allowed you to be the students today for this video session. So, what behaviors did you see?
Saw a lot of kids that weren't prepared.
A lot of kids, lack of preparation. What else did you possibly see?
They were boys that weren't prepared.
Nothing. What did you see, sir?
Obviously cheated.
Obviously cheated. Ms. Porter?
I saw those that were cheating, but it appeared that they wanted to pass, but they didn't want to do the work to pass, but they wanted to pass. So let me talk to my neighbor, because I really want to pass.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure most of us as educators, we've seen this type of behavior or heard of this type of behavior. Our goal as educators, we want to get our students past wanting to, we want them to do well, but we want to teach them the hard work to want to do well. So for our program, we want to develop those skills for them, and we'll get more in detail with those. Now, why do you think the students display these behaviors? Like you said, lack of preparation, frustration, want to do well but don't want to put in the work. So we as educators, we want to try to persuade them and make them understand that hard work is what's going to get you far in life. It's not about just getting the right answer. It's not always about doing well on the test unless you are prepared. And then all these behaviors we want our students to display when taking standardized tests? Of course not, because they are a product of JCPS. We want them, and we want to be proud of what we send out in the real world. Now, this data up here is from high school, K-Prep data from a couple years ago. Now, in the past couple years, the test has changed. The high-stakes test has really changed, and it's changed to become more rigorous. This is before it was rigorous. So it lets us know that we have some room. We have some room for improvement, a lot, at these local performance schools. So less than 50% of the students scored a proficient or distinguished in both reading and math, except for School D. So even though School D scored above 50%, it still is not where it needs to be, such as A, B, and C also. The percent of students that scored novice was higher than students that scored proficient and distinguished in math. School A, their score for proficient and distinguished was higher than the novice. Better than B, C, and D, but still not where it needs to be at, where we want it to be at. Data shows that the majority of students scored apprentice. Even though apprentice is not up here, we at JCPS understand that we rank our students novice, apprentice, proficient, distinguished, and apprentice is right there in the middle. And the schools had more than 75% free and reduced lunch students. Let us know that a lot of the kids are coming probably from broken down homes, which may be a challenge, but we can still improve their school, because that's our goal, to get all students to proficiency. K-Prep middle school, looking at middle school, we're looking at grades 6 through 8. Once again, less than 50% score proficient distinguished in reading at all these schools. 3 out of 5 schools which scored in reading, you see E, G, and H. They had a higher percentage of novice students. We do not want that. We want to improve that, because that's our goal, once again, to increase all students' proficiency no matter where they come from. And once again, apprentice level. Seeing that these most schools are apprentice level, let us know that they are one step closer to where we want them to be. So with a little bit of intervention and hard work by us and putting in more time, we already do that. Where I feel like as we come together as community, school, and family, I think we do that. And I think this program is going to help. We think this program is going to help us. Middle school students have more novice students in reading than high school students. As you notice today, there's more in the teens. And the high school is more below the teens. And the schools, once again, 72% free and reduced lunch students. Now here's the problem. There were more students, once again, who received novice and apprentice. The proficient distinguished scores on both reading and math, the K-Prep assessment at 9 low achieving schools. Here is our $1 million question. How can our schools, families, communities solve this problem together? And here is our proposed plan. It's called the ACT Academy. We want to plan a preparatory school or an academy to help these students at both middle and high. Students will take reading and math like ACT test like items. We'll prepare classes that center around it. For high school, it's going to be more around ACT, since juniors, sophomores, and seniors take the ACT in order to get into college. The ACT Explorer, 8th graders. They take it in the beginning of their 8th grade year. And that ACT Explorer is pretty much letting the school know whether or not those students are prepared for high school. So we're proposing to have each one of these academies, middle and high, to take place on a Saturday, which might be unusual. Most kids probably don't want to go to school on Saturday. But once again, that's helping them to develop that attitude. You got to work hard for what you want. You cannot wait till the day of the test and hope that somebody else can help. We are recommending that each teacher and counselor at the 4 high schools recommend 30 of their novice and apprentice students, because we want them to push them up to proficient. And that should come up to about 150. We want middle school teachers and counselors to recommend 15 of their novice and apprentice students, and that equals about 75. After we have got our student body, we want to host an orientation meeting, which means we're going to teach the counselors and the students about this program. We also invite the parents to come, so the parents know what is going on. What's this program about? What is our goal? What's the expectation? What can they do to help? Because we don't want parents to feel threatened or don't feel confident about this program. We want them to see our face and see who's going to be working with their students on Saturdays. And then at the orientation meeting, we'll also inform the students that they will be paid $50 for completing and finishing the program. This is probably unheard of. We're going to get to that $50 in a minute. And here is our vision, and Mr. David Boudet is going to take over here.
Hi, our vision is the same as the district, state, and the nation's, that we all want students to meet proficiency in all standards. We believe that our innovative and experimental plan is going to have a positive and great impact on our students on these low-achieving schools. One thing we notice about these students is that they do want to succeed, but a lot of the times, they just don't know how to. They don't see it from their parents. The parents don't really know how to. They want to. They want to be reached out to, and we're going to, grab their hand and reach out to those kids. This may be ambitious, but with the assistance of schools, families, communities, we can pull this off and see some gains. Again, from personal experience, I've noticed some gains just in my school alone, and I believe that we can reach out to these 9 low-achieving middle schools and high schools. Students should be able to lean on us. A lot of times student perceptions are teachers are bad people, we're out to get them. And we want their perceptions to change. Maybe if we get these 150 or 225 kids, their perceptions change on the teachers, that can spread like wildfire throughout those schools. And teachers and students both can tackle the education program and all achieve and be successful. And we, the school, family, and community, are the shoulders and backbone to our students' success in the preparation for becoming college and career ready. That's the biggest thing. We want these kids to succeed after we see them. And again, a lot of the families don't really know how to succeed, so a lot of that goes on us. The students are at school, more than they are at home. So we want to make sure that we are supporting our students as best as we can. So why pay the students? This is probably the biggest thing. This is our eye-opener. It's very controversial. Why pay the students? Students that participate and finish the program, we pay $50 and will have an opportunity to place their name in a drawing for a prize. So we're going to have certain expectations for these students throughout this month, or 4 sessions that they're going to go through. If they're able to complete these 4 sessions, they will be paid $50. And again, why pay that $50? For first-hand experience of working for something tangible and intangible, just like the real world. Right? We know that when we go to work, we go to work every day, we teach students, they're successful, we see gains. If they go to work, go to a company, make sales, whatever the case may be, if they're doing good work, they're going to get their paycheck. That's what we want them to work for. So students receive a tangible incentive such as money, while also receiving tangible incentives such as confidence, strategies, and knowledge. That's one of the biggest things that we see is the second we give out those tests is, well, when's the retake? Or I'm just going to fail. We don't want that. We want the kids saying, we're going to pass. We're going to do well on this. We're going to meet the benchmarks. And in the end, students will be rewarded for their dedication and hard work, which is essentially what makes a good employee. Later on, we're going to talk about some of the volunteers that are going to help us out. And they're going to talk to the students firsthand about their experience of what it makes to be a good employee. So why pay the students? Community programs that use the concept of using incentives such as money or junior achievement, and the FBLAs, Future Business Leaders of America, which is already in place at JCPS schools today. So our mission, again, increase the ACT and ACT Explorer scores in reading and math at the 9 low-achieving middle and high schools. Again, the ACT is for the sophomores and juniors in high school, and that Explorer test is for the middle schoolers in high school, or in the 8th graders in middle school. And also preparing students for taking standardized tests, the high-stakes standardized tests. If you guys have seen in the classroom, you got the students may get and understand everything perfectly in your classroom. They might be getting an A, but come standardized test time, they freak out. It's like deer caught in the headlights. They don't want anything to do with it. We want to make sure that they're well prepared and have all that confidence. And also prepare students to be college and career ready. So again, I'm in charge of the seniors. I want to make sure that the seniors that I have are able to make it in college. We want them to be successful and move on and do something with their lives. Measuring achievement. There's going to be 2 different ways we're going to measure achievement. One is our pre and post surveys. We're going to ask students what their outlook is on math and reading. Are they scared of math? Do they just not understand reading? How do they feel about it? Do they like it? Just are good at it? What do they think about reading and math? Then after our program, they're going to take a post survey. Again, are you more confident now? Was this very helpful to you? Do you feel better prepared? Those kind of questions. Also, we're going to look at their ACT and ACT Explorer scores. So, this middle schooler is going to take the Explorer test, and then 3 years later, they're going to take the ACT test. So we'd like to see gains in between those. Also, we can take it year to year. What did the 8th graders do one year that the 8th graders would do the next year, as well as the juniors and sophomores in the high schools. Our recruitment, again, we'd like to recruit at least 150 high school sophomores and juniors. We're focusing on the sophomores and juniors because mainly the juniors are the ones taking the ACT. The sophomores, however, also, we noticed that the ACT offers a lot of geometry, and that's when sophomores take the geometry class. We want to focus and make sure that they understand why they have to take geometry, because it's in the ACT test. 75 middle school students to participate, we're going to focus on the 7th graders. The ACT Explorer test is taken at the beginning of the school year. So that's why we want to focus on the 7th graders, so that way they would have knowledge coming in when they take the test in that upcoming September or August month. We will send emails to counselors at each of the schools, informing them about the program, and also have them host an orientation session at their school. So the counselor is going to pick out going to choose the kids that are almost there, almost at that proficient and distinguished, and they can definitely see some gains after taking this program. As soon as we give them permission slips to take home to be signed by the parent and guardian. Again, we know that with middle schoolers in mind, their parents need to know where they're going to be. We're going to talk about our transportation provided, and we definitely want parents to know that that their son or daughter is going to go to school on a Saturday, which isn't unheard of to anybody. The chosen students will again be sent with a friendly reminder. We feel like this is going to be our biggest challenge that we face, is communicating between the students and the schools and everybody. So what we're going to do is, once we get that list, we're going to make sure we call homes, call families, make sure that they definitely are going to attend our program. Just keep sending them the emails, friendly reminders, calling them, just again making sure we stay in communication with them. Parents will also be sent tip sheets on how to help their children succeed. This will, include internet resources that they can use at home. Helpful tips to make sure their student does the best that day of the test, whether it's eating healthy, getting a good night's rest, so on and so forth. So we want parents to be totally informed, how can I help my son or daughter? We don't want students taking this program and then just being, okay, well now what? We want them to make sure that they take that knowledge and confidence home and practice that.
Okay, the help that we need from the community that we're gonna ask, we're gonna recruit volunteers from the Lincoln Foundation, a couple of sororities and fraternities, the Goulet, 100 Black Men of Quality, DuPont Daniels Beta Club, JCPS, their Future Educators of America Club. And then we're also gonna recruit math and reading teachers to come in, and we'll pay them to come teach these classes for us on Saturdays. And then we will also hold an informational orientation meeting for the volunteers. Okay, the ACT Academy for the high school students. This is gonna take place every Saturday in February. This is the schedule that we would use, and the reason we're doing it in February is because the ACT is offered in March, so it would be very fresh in their minds. The ACT Explore Academy, here, it's gonna be for the 7th graders, that's gonna take place in March, every Saturday. And all the locations are gonna be at Parsons Middle School, because it's kind of the central location for all of these schools here. And also, the TARC station is right directly across the street. So looking at the schedules, it was a really good location for us to choose. So the students, they'll have TARC tickets for those that need them, that will supply for them, and then they'll also be given their bus schedules as well as the parents, so they know when to have them arrive. This is the agenda, very similar, we only have the one, it's very similar to the high school and the middle school. We'll offer a breakfast, check-in time, then we have their sessions, and then in here, this part, students are gonna be able to interact with the student volunteers, and they're gonna be able to give them real life situations of what's going on for college and for careers. And then we're gonna be able to, the volunteers can kind of rotate among the other kids to be able to interact with them. And then here, the students are gonna follow the schedule, and then when it's finished, they'll be given their TARC ticket for a ride home, and the volunteers and teachers will also help clean up and not leave until all students leave. One thing that we saw on the back of the PowerPoint presentation, there's like a punch card that we figured out, because we were wondering about when we went to pay the students. So what they would have every week, they would have the date, they have to have the full attendance. We are gonna require business attire to a certain extent, all right? And then the full participation, because we ran into what if kids fall asleep, what if, they just go in and say, I'm just gonna go get the money, because we want them to take it seriously, if we can. And then at the end, once this is completed, then they would turn it in at the end to get their TARC ticket and their payment of $50. This is our budget that we worked up, and it's an actual budget from everything that we went through. The janitorial, which was time and a half because it was on Saturday, our TARC tickets, the student incentives, if everyone all shows up. We also went and we thought we would purchase the ACT prep book for the high schoolers, an actual copy of them so that they can have it. Then the other office supplies, self-explanatory, teacher pay, and it totaled, we had $40,000 and we came out to $37,875.
And once again, we want students to lean on us, the schools and the communities and the families. Students should be able to feel that they can lean on us to get and prepare them. So right now we're going to show you another brief video. And in this video, I want you to compare and contrast the first video to this last video. So based off of the video, once again, what behavior did you see this time? Now I'll take any, so get you interactive. What type of stuff did you see?
Concentration.
Concentration. What else did you see? I know it was very quick and brief. Concentrating on taking the test and wanting to do well.
Positive peer pressure.
Positive peer pressure. I was hoping somebody would say that because I seen that one girl tapping him over, who falls and tapping him on the shoulder. It seems like to me they're taking ownership not only of each other, but one another. So it's real good. That's what we want our students to feel. We hope that this program that we're going to implement is going to help change that attitude, make them feel ownership, make them feel responsible. Let them know that it's not only the teacher's responsibility or their parents, it's their responsibility too to want to do well. And you got to put the hard work in. It all accounts for everybody. We are a team.
And in that case, they had created a culture for learning because they knew that they were working to improve their schools and everybody was on board with improvement. So it was individual and a team effort because everybody was focused to be better.
Excellent. And that's the whole point of this program.
We want them to be confident, we want them to be confident to know what they're doing.
Yes, sir, that's right. So why do you think the students display these behaviors? Because they built their confidence. Like I said, they built their confidence up. They was concentrating more. They want to be proud. They wanted not only to motivate themselves, not only do they want to do well for themselves, they want to do well for the teachers, the principal, the community. Let them know that you can depend on us too if you work with us. And then last but not least, all these behaviors we want our students to participate in, and when they take a test, heck yeah, that's what we want them to do. That's what we want. That's what we go to school for. That's what we get our college, while we increase our master's degree and bachelor's degree, so that way we can prepare them. And that's why we must work together as a team, family, community, and school, because we are going to get them to proficiency with this. All we ask is that you recommend us to implement this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.